I always knew I wasn't their favorite. My in-laws liked to say I was too quiet, too soft-spoken, too plain. But I tried. God knows I tried. Cooked their favorite meals, sat through their endless gossip sessions, even cancelled outings with my friends just to make room for their family-only traditions. And my husband, Ethan. He was charming to the world. But when it came to me, I was just his background character. His family's maid with a ring. The humiliation began gradually: snide remarks at dinners, comparisons with other women, rolling eyes when I spoke. But that night it became unforgettable. We were at his cousin Melanie's engagement party. I had worn a teal gown I had been saving for months, thinking I'd finally shine a little. I even styled my hair differently. As I approached Ethan and his family by the drinks counter, I heard them laughing. "She actually thinks she's living some kind of life outside of us," Melanie's sister snorted. "She probably believes she's the center of this family," Ethan said, chuckling. "Babe, your only schedule revolves around cooking for my parents and folding my socks." They all erupted in laughter. And I froze. He saw me. He saw me standing there. He didn't even look guilty. Instead, he added with a smirk, "Come on, Amelia. You know I'm kidding. Don't be so sensitive." Everyone was watching me. My face was hot, my eyes welled up, but I smiled. I smiled because I refused to cry in front of them. I simply nodded, turned, and walked away. I didn't confront him that night. I didn't shout, didn't cry. I just waited for him to sleep, then lay next to him with eyes wide open staring at the ceiling, thinking about the 10 years I had given up. The dreams I shelved. The places I didn't go. The books I stopped reading. The friends I lost touch with. All for them. They said I had no life beyond them? Fine. The next morning, I got up before anyone. I packed my bags, one suitcase with essentials and a folder of documents I'd quietly gathered for months. My passport, birth certificate, insurance papers, marriage certificate, bank information, everything. I had been planning my exit without realizing it. That day, I went to the bank. Closed every joint account. Transferred my portion of the savings to a new personal account under my maiden name. Cancelled shared credit cards. Sent emails to our utility providers to remove my name from all household responsibilities. I even changed my phone number and wiped my social media. Then, I dropped by a lawyer's office. The divorce papers were ready within days, simple, clean, and direct. No alimony. No back and forth. Just me severing the chain. Finally, I booked the vacation I had always dreamed of, 2 months across Greece, Italy, and France. The itinerary was my bucket list in motion: Santorini sunsets, Rome's history, Parisian cafes. I left a single envelope on the kitchen counter addressed to Ethan. Inside were the divorce papers and a single note: "You were right. I have no life beyond you." So, I went to find one. The first time I woke up in Santorini, I felt disoriented. The bed wasn't mine. The air didn't smell like burnt toast or Ethan's cologne. It smelled like citrus and salt water. And for the first time in over a decade, no one was calling my name. No one was demanding breakfast, socks, errands, anything. I was free. I walked out to the white balcony of my hotel room, coffee in hand, watching the Aegean Sea stretch endlessly in front of me. I let the silence soak into my bones. My phone buzzed. New number: Ethan. "Amelia, what the hell is going on? Where are you?" Unknown: "Did you seriously close our accounts? Are you out of your mind? Call me back." His mother: "You are disrespecting our family by running away like this. This is not how a wife behaves." I turned the phone off. I wasn't going to let them claw their way back into my peace. Later that day, I joined a group hike to Oahu. There was a young woman from Brazil and an elderly painter from Amsterdam. We talked about sunsets, food, the absurdity of love. No one knew I had been a wife or what I'd left behind. I didn't offer the story. It felt good to just be Amelia, not Ethan's wife or the daughter-in-law who overcooked the rice. At night, I journaled everything. The betrayal. The laughter. The way my fingers trembled when I signed the divorce papers. The strange calm that followed. I wasn't broken. I was becoming. While I basked under European skies, chaos exploded back home. Ethan went into a rage the moment he saw the papers. His ego couldn't comprehend that I had left. Not begged, not pleaded, just left. His calls turned from anger to desperation within days. He went to the bank, only to find our joint accounts empty and my name erased. He stormed into the lawyer's office, only to be told I had handled everything legally. His mother called a family meeting. According to my friend Jenna, who still lived nearby, it was dramatic. She didn't even fight. She just ran, Ethan snapped. Good wives don't abandon their homes, his mother fumed. She owes us an explanation. She owes us our life back, his sister added. Apparently, Ethan had to cancel the lease on his new car. His credit card bounced. The fancy anniversary dinner he had reserved for show? Gone. All of it had been under my name or backed by my score. I had cleaned up his messes for years. Now, he had to sit in it. He even contacted my parents, who had finally seen the change in me and were not on his side. My mother told him point blank, "She gave you everything. You laughed at her for it. She's done." They tried social media, but I had deactivated all of it. They even filed a missing person report, which got dismissed once the lawyer confirmed that I had traveled willingly and legally. Jenna said Ethan looked like a man unraveling. His pride had been his crown. Now, he was just a jester in the ruins he helped build. And me? I was in Florence, sipping wine under golden skies, sketching the Duomo, smiling at strangers. Let them chase ghosts. I didn't expect Florence to feel like home. But it did. There was something about the streets, how they echoed stories, how art spilled onto the walls, how the people walked without hurry, that made me breathe deeper. I started every morning at a cafe near the Arno River. The owner, Matteo, quickly learned I liked my espresso strong and my croissant without sugar. He never asked why I was alone, and I loved him for it. I took a sketchbook with me everywhere. I hadn't drawn since college. Ethan said it was a useless hobby that wouldn't pay the bills. But now, every building, every moment, every face I passed became a sketch. A memory just for me. One afternoon, I visited the Uffizi Gallery alone. No one rushed me past the Botticellis or told me to hurry up, this stuff is boring. I stood in front of the Birth of Venus for nearly 20 minutes, tears silently rolling down my cheeks. It wasn't just the art. It was what I felt: wonder, joy, presence. Something I hadn't felt in years. Later that evening, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Ethan, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said what I did. Please come home. We can talk. Another, this is all a misunderstanding. You blew it out of proportion. Be reasonable, Amelia. His mother, Ethan's been depressed since he left. He's barely eating. Don't destroy a man's life over one joke. I didn't reply. I just booked a sunset wine tasting tour in Tuscany. I wasn't going back to a life where my soul came second to someone's pride. A week later, I got an email from Jenna with the subject line, "You need to see this." Attached was a video. Ethan was in it, standing outside our old apartment, ranting to a local news crew. Yes, a news crew. Apparently, he was trying to paint the narrative that his wife ran away without a word, and he was worried, sick, and emotionally shattered. He made it sound like I was unstable, implying maybe I was having a breakdown. He looked thin, haggard. But not because he missed me. Because he couldn't control the story. What he didn't know was that I had already legally protected myself with documentation, clear communication via my lawyer, and a paper trail of our finances that made his tantrum look laughable. The comments on the video were mixed. Some pitied him. But many more called him out. Sounds like your wife finally grew a spine. No life beyond him? Wow. I'd leave too. Another man shocked when his unpaid emotional laborer finally quits. Jenna told me he was livid. He blamed me for ruining his image, but I hadn't said a word publicly. He did all the damage himself. And as for his mother? She showed up at my old job asking if I had been under stress lately. My boss politely informed her I had resigned with notice and glowing reviews, and that if she persisted, they'd involve security. They were unraveling. Publicly. Pathetically. Meanwhile, I was learning how to make homemade pasta in a quiet Italian village, laughing with a group of tourists who didn't even know my last name. I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. And for once, it wasn't for anyone else. I was in Nice when I saw him. Of all the cities. Of all the streets. He stood there like some misplaced actor in a film I no longer wanted to watch. Ethan. He had bags under his eyes, his hair unkempt, and a look on his face that used to trigger my guilt. Not this time. Amelia, he said, breathless like I'd just saved him. I found you. I took a step back instinctively. How? Your Instagram. You forgot to deactivate your art page, he said, half laughing. God, I've been following your sketches like a map. Damn. I had indeed left my art account untouched, and I'd been posting photos of the cities I was sketching. Rookie mistake. He took a step closer. Look, I know I messed up. I was an idiot. My family, God, they don't know how to shut up. But you. You're my wife. Please, come home. I stared at him for a long moment. Then looked past him at the ocean, the freedom, the lightness in my chest. I'm not your wife anymore, I said quietly. You signed the papers. I didn't mean it, he rushed. I was angry. I thought you'd come back and yell and we'd fight it out and then get over it. That's how couples work, right? Is that what we were doing, Ethan? Working? I asked. He fell silent. I gave you everything. Years of myself. And you mocked me in front of the very people I tried to please for your sake. You laughed like I was some pathetic joke. Do you even understand what that did to me? His voice cracked. I was stupid. I didn't mean it. But you did. That's the problem. And even if you didn't mean the words, you meant the laughter. He reached out for my hand. I pulled away. You don't get to chase me now just because your life fell apart without me cleaning up after you. You don't miss me, you missed the version of me that made your life easier. He looked gutted. Please. Don't do this. I already did it, Ethan. Months ago. You just showed up too late to notice. I thought it ended on that bench by the shore. I thought Ethan finally understood that his time in my story was over. But toxic men don't let go when they lose control, they tighten their grip. The next morning, I was packing to leave for Lisbon when there was a knock at my hotel door. I assumed it was housekeeping. Instead, Ethan barged in before I could react, his face wild, jaw clenched. Are you seriously leaving again? He barked. After everything I said last night? I stepped back. What are you doing here? How did you get in? Bribed the front desk, he said like it was nothing. Don't worry, they don't know I'm your husband. Just said I needed to surprise my girlfriend. That's not charming. That's criminal. You're my wife. He snapped, voice rising. You don't just disappear and expect me to roll over. I divorced you. You signed the papers. I kept my voice calm, even as my pulse pounded. You don't have a right to be here. He moved closer. I'm not going to lose you over some stupid joke. It wasn't just a joke, Ethan. It was a pattern. You treated me like a doormat and expected gratitude. I reached for my phone on the nightstand. He slapped it away. I'm not done talking, he shouted. That's when I knew. This wasn't desperation. This was control. Get out, I said. Now. You're not leaving. Not until we fix this. He reached for my wrist. Big mistake. I screamed. Loud and sharp. Within seconds, the hotel manager was banging on the door. Ethan tried to yank me toward the bathroom, but I pulled free and flung open the door. He forced himself in. He won't leave, I said, my voice shaking. The manager called security. Ethan tried to lie his way out of it, but the surveillance footage didn't lie. He had bribed his way in, ignored my refusal to let him stay, and laid hands on me. The police came. I pressed charges. Trespassing. Intimidation. Physical harassment. He was arrested right there in the hallway, still shouting about how this was all just a misunderstanding and I was being dramatic. As they cuffed him, he looked at me with this strange, wounded expression, like I had betrayed him. But I felt nothing. Not pity. Not guilt. Nothing. Just relief. Finally, the story was over.